What's up, YouTube? This morning I woke up feeling a lot better, ready to dive right into this thing. I've got a lot to do today and a lot to show you, so gonna kind of speed things up in this episode, I hope. Here's the replacement clutch, so we did get the proper one. This is the one that has the pull style pressure plate. Looks like pretty much the same disc, although I think it might be slightly different. This one's also rated for a lot more torque and pressure, so it is actually good to use. So I've still got the engine slung on the crane, and basically just going to take the disc and the pressure plate, put that all together, and then get ready to take this guy and plop it down into there. And I'm just noticing they use a, however you want to pronounce it, Exedy or Exedy clutch disc. So like I mentioned in the last video of this series, make sure you have the pilot bearing in there. Not only are you going to have difficulty lining up a clutch, but you're going to cause some pretty serious damage if you don't have that in there and actually get it all together. So we got our line-up tool, clutch disc. Line-up tool goes into the clutch disc, and then this end of it goes into the pilot bearing to center everything up. Make sure the tool's all the way in, and then just kind of seat the clutch up against the flywheel temporarily. Probably want to keep a hand on this so you can kind of see it's loose. It could potentially fall on the edge of the disc and crack it on you. You want to also make sure that both surfaces of the flywheel and the pressure plate are both really clean. No packing oil or anything on there. Take a little brake clean and wipe it nice and clean and dry before you put it all together. And the factory clutch, or the service manual, also states that there's an imbalance to the factory clutch, and they actually put some paint marks so that you can offset the imbalance. But I don't see anything to go by on this, and I don't really expect it to be very far out of balance. So the main thing you got to look for is these dowel pins will come through the holes, and you just want to make sure that you're lining those up so that it will actually start to go on and together. The paint's just holding the studs or the dowel pins out a little bit. Just a couple little bops with my hand just so I can get one of these bolts to start. Put another one in down here just so I don't have to worry about it falling off anymore. And believe it or not, the last pressure plate kit actually came with new hardware, new pressure plate bolts, and this one didn't. So I'm just reusing the old ones. No problem to reuse the old ones as long as they're torque to spec. When tightening down a pressure plate, I really like to do things evenly. I won't go in generally all the way on one side. I'll just put it in about 3/4 of the way, and then I'll start putting down another side, just compressing the whole pressure plate together and not too offset. So now I got all the bolts all pretty much evenly put down. I'm ready to torque. Now I think the service manual probably says something different, but I'm going by what's in the clutch box, and they want these M8 bolts, 1.25 thread, which they are, torqued at 20 foot-pounds. So I've got my inch torque wrench set to 240 inch-pounds. And with the clutch finally fully installed, we can go ahead and pull out that line-up tool and go on about installing the release bearing. Now the release bearing does actually seat inside here, but you do not want to attach it at this point because you'll be fighting to try and get a shift fork back together. This actually snaps into place. There's a snap ring in here and it will snap into place, but if this is offset in any direction and you're trying to get the fork to line up on it, you can be there forever trying to get this to spin around. I'm sure there's a technique of getting it to turn into the spot and getting it in there, but this is best installed on the vehicle before installing the engine. So I've gone ahead and really brake cleaned everything in here, washed everything up really well, even cleaned the subframe up pretty decent. Ready to install the throwout bearing, but a couple things before I do. So I've already taken a slick of grease and I put it on this journal where the actual bearing rides and slides on. You don't want very much grease because a lot of clutch dust is going to collect on it, but just enough so that it gives it a little bit of lubrication. Another thing I like to do, and most clutch packs will give you a little tube of anti-seize, and just the slightest little bit on the spline. I've seen guys just paint it on there, and that's way too much. A thing of anti-seize this size should last someone the rest of their life. That's how little anti-seize you should be using. So I won't even take the brush out of the container. I'll just get a bunch of it on my finger like that and start painting it on the spline. And that's enough. So we'll put the throwout bearing on and we'll lift up on the clutch fork and slide the bearing in, make sure it slides but doesn't have any play on there, and then we'll drop the fork down into it so the fork can operate it like that. So next is actually getting in this shift fork shaft. So I've got the shift fork shaft, I've given it a little cleaning and applied some grease on it for some lubrication. So if you look in this end of the transmission, it's got a dowel pin in there, and the dowel pin goes straight across through that hole, and that's for this slot to rest in. So as the pin travels through, it will come through here and jam up on that dowel pin. So just guide this through. And it should be seated right there. We'll just check the operation of the fork again. And it's pretty much installed, ready to put the plug in on the end of the shift shaft, which is over at this end, which holds it all in. 14mm Allen socket. And then just for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and put in the shift fork boot. I'll put the spring onto the fork and double check the operation again. Looks good. Now with the throwout bearing all installed, ready to drop the engine in. So I actually pulled my light out of the way so I get some more crane room, and I've gone ahead and jacked up the transmission quite a few inches, just to give that little easier install for getting these pins to line up, these studs. One more thing to put on before the engine drops into the car is this inspection cover, and a lot of people forget it or bend it all up as they're getting it back in and they just leave it off. But I mean, if you're careful, there's no reason this needs to be bent up. And now the engine's ready to go in.
I count blessings, not my ills. I stay focused, I don't dwell. I see time is all my wealth. All these angels watch my health. I stay bout it, I'm not pouting. Break through walls and climbing mountains. If you want it, scream it loud and show this world what they've been doubting. Never waiting on the world to catch up to me. Leave it in the rear view. I wish that it was up to me. The world would never fear new. But here's two, losing sleep, rising up at dawn. Every week I drop a video with self-produced song. They still sleeping, but it's okay. I'm still not in gear two. Wait until the pace pick up and watch who they give it scares too. Scrap told me shit is getting hella cinematic, so I'm betting on my talents with whatever's in my balance. Completing all my beats, but my attic unfinished. An addict with a vision, cause I'm at it, not quitting. By any means necessary, that's how we gon' get it. It's time to lay my foot down, up is where I'm headed. I count blessings, not my ills. I stay focused, I don't dwell. I see time is all my wealth. All these angels watch my health. I stay bout it, I'm not pouting. Break through walls and climb it mountains. If you want it, scream it louder. Show this world what they did out in us. I feel like Millie Bobby Brown with the force on checks. Strange shit gon' be occurring if you walk past that. Drawing lines in the sand, supply and demand. They say life is a bitch, but a thigh's in my hand. And we cap down, scoring like a stack house. You doing dabs, I'll be in the studio until I...
So now that the engine's in the car, I can go ahead and start hooking up accessories, electrical, hoses, think about putting in the downpipe, and I mean there's going to be a lot of stuff to actually hook up and do on this job, so I'm not sure how far to a complete finish we'll get in this episode, but I'll just get started and we'll see what happens. So first I'm going to go ahead and install the slave cylinder. A lot easier to do this when the starter is not in place, and I'm actually not so sure you can do it with the starter in place. Now I think if I do this right, just one good shove on here will put the throw-out bearing into the pressure plate, and it feels like it's in there. Now I can stretch over the spring. And I'm going to go step on the clutch, see how it feels. And the pedal feels awesome. Nice and easy to put down. Check that again. Can't feel any free play, comes right back up. So now I'm ready to put in the starter motor. You want this bolt with the grounding bracket on top. So I kind of went ahead and just finished up things in the back. I've got the electrical connections for the starter, the ground going to the block, the heater hoses are on. So I'm going to move on. I've just set the AC compressor over into place here. So I'll probably bolt it into place and then start dealing with some of the electrical and the fuel on this side to just get things started organized and how it's going to be laid out. But I really can't put too much together. I just kind of see which way stuff's going and kind of lay it out, because the intercooler piping's got to go through still, and I'm not quite sure how it goes through yet. So I'll probably come across here to the front, maybe put the alternator in over to this side. Got some electrical, and the power steering lines need to be hooked up. So I've actually gone ahead without you guys and just started assembling some stuff. So I've got the AC compressor in place. So the bracket gets bolted to the head, to the compressor. There's 4 compressor bolts. The alternator sitting in place, but still able to adjust it afterwards. Got the power steering hoses back on, the return and feed. The electrical in the back there's on. I put this pitch stop mount in. I've added a couple zip ties to these vacuum lines in here, and I ended up leaving this evap solenoid over on this side and kind of got it jammed down and tucked in a little deeper and bolted it in there. Over here on this side I just got the fuel lines all connected. The brake booster hose, I ended up putting a regular clamp on that because it was very loose, and now it's, you know, it's really tight. It still turns a little bit, but it's really tight. Same with the boost supply line to the bypass valve to get a zip tie on that. And just started routing some of the electrical over here. And now I'm pretty much ready to put the exhaust on. I think I'm going to put the downpipe on next. So I'll probably take the camera underneath and up above and we'll film that.
Your body's moving like a hurricane. They gave me warning, I can't turn away. I'm stuck in a state of emergency. It's gonna be hard to push the urge away. Your body's moving like a hurricane. I know your stone gon' break my vertebrae. So I tried packing all my things up until I couldn't push the urge away. You my hurricane, hurricane. You got that category 5 glow. That type of curve that you could spot in other time zones. Tired horse riding cause you know just what I need. You a pro at breaking hearts but you be acting so naive. Ease up with the mind tricks, I just watch the time tick. You just robbing money from me, how come I'm the sidekick? Doses of your power, it's a drug, you got me hooked. Goddamn, now I just can't help but look. Your body's moving like a hurricane. They gave me warning, I can't turn away. I'm stuck in a state of emergency. It's gonna be hard to push the urge away. Your body's moving like a hurricane. I know your stone gon' break my vertebrae. So I tried packing all my things up until I couldn't push the urge away. You my hurricane, hurricane. It's gonna take a lot, I guess, for y'all to listen to the truth. Darling, you just want attention, I feel like I'm Charlie Puth. Walk on stage and work the crowd, I'm calling shots like I was Ruth. Please don't offer me a line, I drop enough inside my boot. You got that category 5, I know soon you'll break my levee. So I crash into them thighs, got me drowning off your jetty. Heavy doses of your power, it's a drug, you got me hooked. Goddamn, now I just can't help but look. Your body's moving like a hurricane. They gave me warning, I can't turn away. I'm stuck in a state of emergency. It's gonna be hard to push the urge away. Your body's moving like a hurricane. I know your stone gon' break my vertebrae. So I tried packing all my things up until I couldn't push the urge away. You my hurricane, hurricane.
So now that I have the downpipe installed, the O2 sensors in, kind of come to a point where I want to come to a stop because I'm going to have to push on to another video really. Majority of the engine is installed, majority of the wiring's all plugged in, the fuel's all hooked up. So I guess I thought I was going to get a little bit further along, but I'm glad I got to this point because now I can push on to something a little different. There's still lots more work to do, believe it or not, so this gives me time to actually, you know, go inside and edit this video. And then tomorrow I plan on pushing more and getting more done. You may have noticed the channel's actually above 800 subscribers now. We're headed towards that 1K mark, and I really appreciate everyone watching. And the comments that I'm getting are really good. You know, even people asking the questions they ask, it's all good. You know, if you've got a question, you want to know the answer, and I can answer it, I'll do my best to do it. Even to the point where someone's wondering, you know, should they swap out their WRX engine for an STI? Any type of question is good. I've been working on Subis for a long time and done lots of different things with them, so even to the point where I'm going to pull in my own wagon and do that single overhead cam EJ257 hybrid. That's something I've never done before, and I'm just eager to actually see if it works and how well it does work. So at this point I should be able to just keep on rolling on this car until the point that I can actually drive it out of the garage, hopefully. And once that happens, I'm ready to order my RB engine. I'm ordering an RB20 DET for the 240. The one I had my eye set on is still available, so it's a complete swap. Comes engine, transmission, complete harness, ECU. So that's what I'm planning on putting into the 240. But I want to be able to get that drivetrain into my garage, and I can't get anything in and out with the car in. So as soon as this car becomes mobile, that engine's getting ordered. It's going to sit in the garage until it's ready to install. And I do plan on probably running it before the installation, just to make sure it's a good running engine too. So that'll be an interesting video. So if you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider to hit that subscribe button. Leave your questions and comments further down below, and I'll see you in the next one.